I'm your host, Frankie Marchesini, along with my tortellini twin, the Ayatollah Capicola, Chris Vitale. And our guest this week is an actor, comedian, musician. He's a Redondo Beach raconteur, the pride of Manhattan, Kansas, the Canassi Kid himself, Brock Everett.
How do, sir?
Oh, Brockness, look at you. Look at you. Oh, you get like the last rose of summer.
Oh, come on. A bottle of red, bottle of white.
Oh, hi, guys.
All right, look at this. Better late than never. He got caught in back of a garlic truck.
I did. Hold on a second. I got to move us around a little bit. Let's do that. Let's throw Brock in the middle.
There we go.
I'll take Paul Linda Block. Okay, here we go.
There you go. I did get stuck behind a garlic truck, and it jackknifed, and there was literally from the high desert to the low desert garlic rolling all the fucking way down, and it's like that was an omen before we do Cinema Cacciatore. So, pleasure to be here with you, gentlemen. And,
did you grab a couple of cloves? A couple of off the highway.
I need a fucking car wash though. That's for sure, because now everything it's like it's coming in through the fucking vent and everything.
Yeah, you sweat garlic anyway. That's kind of like.
I just have my cholesterol checked. I think I sweat mayonnaise at this point. I don't even like mayo, but it's not a fucking beautiful thing. Let's just. I'm eating avocados and nuts and shit now. It's a story for another day. Let's go, fellas.
All right.
Good to see you, boys.
Good to see you guys. And Brock, I thought, since we were going to break down, one of the all-time classic musical fantasy films, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Absolutely.
Yes. We thought that you would be the perfect guest because I know you have a sweet tooth.
Oh, absolutely.
And the movie opens up. With because it has such a great soundtrack to it. It came out in 1971, directed by Mel Stewart, who really didn't do a lot of other stuff, really. And the movie got financed by the Quaker Oats Company. Okay. Basically, they were looking for like some sort of marketing vehicle to launch the Wonka bar, and so the producers were able to get like the Quaker Oats Company to throw this money up. It was based on a book called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl, and they shot it in Germany. And when you watch it, it actually has that kind of, you could tell it wasn't shot in England. It wasn't shot in the United States. It has a real subversive, wacky, aesthetic to it, that movie. And I hadn't watched it in a while, but I knew we were going to do this. But and one of the things that I noticed, and I know you guys love this movie, more than I do. I mean, I like it, but I always, growing up as a kid, I just always found it like really strange. Like the kids are really odd looking. You know what I mean?
That's the point.
I know. Veruca Salt is fucking annoying as hell.
Yeah, remember, pain in the ass.
Well, they were a pretty good '90s chick band. Remember Veruca Salt? Brock, give us a little bit of the quintessential song from that film.
Oh, sure. I mean,
tickle the ivories a little bit.
When we go into the chocolate room, come with me, and we'll be in a world of pure imagination. What you see will defy explanation. You can do a little cinema cacciatore. We are about to tell the story of the movies that we love, or as we say, that's amore.
I mean, he plays so fine, doesn't he?
Tickle him.
Sexual chocolate.
So when the movie came out, it didn't really do all that well. I mean, it was it wasn't like a huge smash. It became this cult film in popularity through it being aired on television for 50 years. But at the time, Roger Ebert, the Chicago Sun-Times critic, he wrote, "Probably the best film of its sort since The Wizard of Oz. It is everything that family movies usually claim to be, but aren't. Delightful, funny, scary, exciting, and most of all, a genuine work of imagination. Well, Willy Wonka is such a surely and wonderfully spun fantasy that it works on all kinds of minds. And it is fascinating because, like all classic fantasy, it's fascinated with itself. So now, Brock, there's another.
I would just say this quickly that Ebert probably saw a lot of himself in the characters there, perhaps Augustus Gloop. And he would be in
That's
that
a
chocolate
great
river.
point. That's a great
Well,
point.
you know,
And
well, you know,
Ebert, well, hold on a second, Frank. I'm sorry to
yeah,
interrupt
sure,
you,
no, 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 good.
but I mean, Ebert also probably wrote that from his residency at the damn Playboy Mansion, where he hung out for days on end, and he would just come down in his friggin' bathrobe for more booze and like more women.
Huh.
Ebert. The funniest thing when I was a kid watching Siskel and Ebert, I'm like, who's this little fat weirdo? And it turns out he was a fucking maniac who just, was buddies with Russ Meyer and just loved
Yeah,
like
well,
tits.
he,
loved tits.
he wrote Valley of the Dolls. He wrote
Yeah.
the script for that.
Yes.
Well, I
Oh,
can
man.
guarantee when the Playboy Mansion was still in Chicago and he was bopping around there holding court, Brock, I would hazard a guess that he probably ran into Harry Carey.
Hi, everybody. There's Ebert. Hi, let's go get some Malort and just get can-faced right now. Hi.
I think he was probably a big fan of Willy Wonka. What do you think he would have said about it?
Hey, I like that little Veruca Sala, man. Hey, she's a long-time Cubby fan. Hey, how about that?
Jesus Christ.
She's a big blueberry. Holy cow. She must be a Dodgers fan. Oh!
Oh, Harry Carey, God rest his soul.
Let's take a look at this cast. What do you think?
Yeah. Back to the movie. Oh.
So Gene Wilder. I mean, I know when I was doing the research on this, they were looking at Fred Astaire. Apparently, Peter Sellers really wanted to do it.
I could see Sellers doing it. He's the only other guy aside from Gene Wilder I might be able to see.
Yeah, but Gene Wilder.
But
had,
even still, Gene Wilder's a.
But he had such an and he also had an athleticism to him, like that whole first
physical
scene.
comedy. Oh, where he flips over coming out of the
and that wasn't in the script. Wilder put that in. When I was doing the research, I saw that. Like he put that in because he wanted to, like when you were introducing the character, he wanted to show the audience that you could never trust him. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
smoke and mirrors.
What you see is not what you get.
I mean? Yeah, it's like everything's smoke and mirrors. Everything's an illusion.
Yeah,
and that's
And then Grandpa Joe, Jack
Chico,
Albertson,
fresh off of Chico and the Man with Freddie
Chico
Prinze
the
Jr.
Poseidon Adventure.
Oh yeah,
won an Academy Award.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah, won an Academy Award.
A morning after.
And then
Kelly Winters, what a big booze hound she was. Disgusting.
Oh my god, the fucking Harry Carey shit is gonna kill me.
I think her fat ass flipped that boat. That's what I think.
and then Roy Kinnear, like the great English character actor.
No relation to Greg.
No, I don't. They could be distant cousins.
Toxic.
But
we'll have to look that up.
He plays Veruca Salt's father, and he's in the Mike and Mechanics video. All I need is a miracle. All I need is a miracle. That's what I remember him from.
I don't remember him in that video. I thought it was just.
It's a whole story.
I thought it was just Mike Rutherford standing.
He's like running around like the streets of Bangkok or something. So now, Brock, let me ask you about this film.
Sure. The art film I did in college. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Break it down for me, like because I like to ask this question a lot. Especially for these movies that just seem to stand the test of time. What do you think makes this movie why did it catch on? Like, I mean, obviously audiences at the time really came out in 1971, and it wasn't like some big hit, but it steadily just like built up this this huge following, and it's a beloved movie.
Yeah. Well, I think any sort of fantasy film really taps into people's imaginations, but Also, I got to say the soundtrack, which I think it won for soundtrack, didn't it?
Well, it was nominated for an Academy Award. The score, yeah.
Yeah, once you got some good music in there, you'll that'll connect all the dots for a lot of people. And so I still find myself watching it because it's a part of everyone's childhood too. And so, I mean, everyone loves quoting it. And even today on TikTok, you'll find the Wonka at the end. I said, "Good day, sir." You lose, you get nothing.
Well, it was great because that movie came out in 71 and Young Frankenstein comes out in 74. But you could see that intensity because he did the producers too. But no one gets angry like him. Like he's the best angry Wilder.
Well, I mean, you brought up Young Frankenstein, and just I mean, when he actually is zapping Peter Boyle to come alive. And that just insane scene in Young Frankenstein. Give my creation life!
Yeah, but the fact that he wanted to do that movie because it's so subversive, and if you look at like a lot of his movies, in the 80s when he did Stir Crazy, like he ended up, like kind of doing more mainstream movies, but he always chose like his movie choices, his roles he chose were always off kilter. They were always. Yeah. The young Sherlock Holmes, right? He did Young Frankenstein.
He had a great relationship with Mel Brooks and Richard Pryor. So you want to be I don't know if you can get any more off kilter than those two. So I mean Richard Pryor, again going back to to a Mel Brooks movie with Blazing Saddles. Richard Pryor wrote it. He was going to be Cleavon Little's character, but I mean, those three really had a great relationship. So Gene Wilder always, and he was fucking married to Gilda Radner. So
they got married later. They got married later.
Know, but I mean, is that not the perfect like anti-Hollywood couple right there? It's like two of the funniest motherfuckers in the world. Just, I mean, imagine Thanksgiving at their fucking house. Come on.
Well, and apparently Wilder was like a very very good fencer. He was into like he has like Christopher Walken has that because he was a dancer and stuff.
I took jazz tap as a child, and it's a passion for me, and I love the tap dance, and maybe a little a sachet or a kickball change, whatever it takes.
Another tidbit from this movie when I was doing the research I looked at. They said about a third of the props in the chocolate room were actually edible.
Yeah.
You imagine, Brock, imagine Andre the Giant on that set?
Well, you mean I get to eat the entire mushroom I do? It's amazing. I need to go take a crap. Do you have a bathtub that I can take a crap in right now? You couldn't use the regular toilet, I'm stuck in the Wonka baby. Help me.
I don't even know how the hell you do that one. That's some next level shit, Brock.
I am the Black Pirate Robert.
But also, Brock. Brock, also if instead of if they redid the movie instead of like a Wonka bar, and maybe they used a Baby Ruth. And the baby and the Baby Ruth, it was a Baby Ruth bar until the Wonka bar used the Baby Ruth bar.
Baby Ruth?
Well, also, the Baby Ruth got really famous in Caddyshack.
Oh, yeah. All right, you better believe it. All right, okay. This is why tigers eat their young. All right, okay.
Hey, Brock, I'm trying to cue you up for the impersonation.
I'm sorry.
I'm queuing you up.
I got no timing right now. Okay, all right.
Oh, my God. Oh, God. It's what does that hat come with a free bowl of soup?
That's the most looking hat I ever saw. You get a hat like this, you get a free bowl of soup. All right, okay.
But what's your favorite candy bar, Brock? You have the sweet tooth. If the diabetes isn't really kicking in, and you could have a cheat day.
Oh yeah.
What candy bar are you?
Well, let me check my blood sugar here real quick, and then I'll the diabetes. Oh yeah, the Wilford Brimley stuff. Favorite candy bar? God, I was always a sweet guy. I went for the fruit stuff like the Good and Plenty's or maybe the cinnamon one, but candy bar, gun to my head. Maybe the whatchamacallit is a good call.
Whatchamacallit.
It's an
Yeah, I haven't had one of
underrated
those in
candy.
ages. That's
It's an
right.
underrated candy.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean,
it's absolutely underrated.
you know, if I'm at a Bucky's or a truck stop, I might
Oh,
grab a Twix. You know,
yeah.
but the one I learned to appreciate later in life, which I didn't like so much as a kid because the chocolate always melted in your hand, was the Snickers. But once it was frozen, it was a superior
Oh yeah.
product.
See,
Oh yeah.
okay. Now here's the thing, and I have a question. I mean, seriously, this is an actual serious question. How frozen does a Snickers need to be before you eat it? Because I almost lost more than one tooth trying to eat one right out of the freezer.
Well, listen, that
Like, is there
caramel
is
will.
there a half life that you need to take it out and just let it kind of chill
Well,
for a
maybe you
minute?
go in there and you take some cutlery out there and get it into smaller pieces, but you don't go right in. You might cost yourself a crown.
Yeah,
Um,
I came dangerously close to that more than once.
oh, absolutely.
And what about after a big meal, Brock? You know, because I know how you like to order for the table. You get the zucchini
Oh,
blossom for
sure,
the
sure.
table. You like to
On
get all that
pasta for everyone.
for everybody for the table. And then, like, after you're done, and like, oh, room for dessert. And like,
Oh,
oh no,
yeah.
no, none for me, none for
No, no,
me.
yeah,
Well,
Kelly,
you know
bring
what?
the fucking card
Yeah,
over here.
yeah, bring the card. You know what?
Let me
Bring the
take a look.
menu. We'll take a look. We'll split something. We'll
Let me
split
see
something.
here. And then it's like, oh well, let's split it. Let's bring a bunch of spoons. And we'll just go for one sundae, the chocolate sundae classic. But I'm not too big on chocolate, but a nice light chocolate mousse is
It's
probably
lovely.
up there. But if I'm at a restaurant and it's a nice restaurant, I'm going to go with the tiramisu.
Go with
I
the
do.
tiramisu.
You know what you don't see a lot on menus, I guess, because I don't know, maybe it's expensive to make. I don't know, but Napoleon, like a nice Napoleon, like like a nice big piece of the Napoleon. Oh, see that's
Yeah,
nice.
that's more of a. I mean, that's more of a bakery item.
Is
If it
that
was
the
Yeah,
a
three colored ice cream or is that
no,
Neapolitan?
it's
no,
like
no, no, the
that's
other one,
Neapolitan. Yeah,
the
yeah.
other
No,
one.
you ever go to Ferrara's in down a Little Italy? It's
Oh
like
yeah,
on like it's off of Mott Street in like
yeah,
Grand or somewhere over
yeah.
there. I
Right
mean,
off a canal. Right off a
you
canal.
you walk into that place and let me tell you, man,
Oh
you're
yeah.
like, what the fuck is going on? And the cannolis, Schroyadel, which I know
Oh yeah.
Brock likes it, Schroyadel.
They're
Oh
not
Who
well,
small.
doesn't?
Who
A
doesn't?
little espresso and some sambuca on the side. Oh,
With
that's
the
yeah.
three
nice.
Well, I grew
beans.
up in
Oh, come
Manhattan,
on.
Kansas, not Manhattan, New York. So
So what
our
would they have for
exposure
what
to
they
Italian
Same
food
thing.
was
Same
with,
thing, Brock. Same
with
thing.
ambrosia?
Olive Garden. You know,
Jello molds with bananas floating in them.
you know.
well, we used to have back in the '70s. We had places like Mr. Steak, and people will
Mr.
put up these
Steak.
nostalgic ads where it was like a $4 ribeye. But I
Was
think I was trying to distinguish it for someone. I was like, we had restaurants, but if you went to a nice restaurant, we just called it a sit down restaurant. Like, do I need to dress? Yeah, dress up. We're going to a sit down restaurant. So, you'd have a hostess there. And yeah, we had one Mexican restaurant, Raul's. It was like the only Mexican family that I knew in town. They were on my paper route. And other than that, it was like Taco Hut, which was, hamburger, shredded cheese, and lettuce. That was
so
it.
so it would be
Yeah,
you and like
that's
your whole
awesome.
family, and you had a pretty big family, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you want to see Dad get pissed off, make him sit through a lunch or dinner with the six kids, and you knew you were going to go home for a beating after that. So, and to order right, don't go big, don't go for a steak. If you're 10 and under, you stay on the fucking kids menu and don't step out of your lane. Get a cheeseburger. None of this. Maybe the Sunday chicken deal, but don't step up until you get an adult
Oh
meal.
God.
What about when you rolled into Arthur Treacher's?
Well,
Come on, that was a
full,
classic.
full
me,
open
me and Brock
kimono
always
here.
talk about
There
Arthur
was an
Treacher's.
Arthur Treacher's in our town, but I actually worked at the Long John Silver's, which
Oh,
back in
the
those
competitor,
days, you still had to wear like the
The
neckerchief
pirate's
and
outfit.
yeah, it looked like fucking,
like
Judge
Fast Times.
gold.
Reinhold. Judge
Fast
Reinhold. The
Times.
fuck yeah.
And I remember working there and I was literally swabbing the deck, scrubbing the floor. And my high school girlfriend walked in with her friend, just buried her face in her hands. She was so embarrassed. And,
You
what
were
are you
Judge
guys doing?
Reinhold at that point. Holy
Oh,
shit.
yeah. Like, oh my God. I would have
Minus
been
the
better off getting
one
caught beating
thing
off in
that
the
we're not gonna.
bathroom, for God's
Yeah,
sake.
exactly.
Oh, then we had, you had the hush puppies and you'd be shaking them off like hot fish planks coming across, hot chicken planks coming across.
Can I bring up something about the movie, however?
Please do.
I want to bring up okay, so when I was a little kid and I saw it, I was freaked out by it. And I was terrified by that fucking scene where where they're on the boat and they're going through the tunnel and like there's like the acid flashback scene where and Gene Wilder starts singing that fucking song.
There's no way of knowing
And
which
there
way
it
we are
is.
going.
And then it gets crazier and crazier.
What is this, a freak out, Wonka?
I mean, to me, the moral of the movie at the time when I saw it as a kid, and that's why it always stuck with me. It's like, be a good kid, or you're gonna fucking die, and you're not just gonna die. You're gonna die a fucking terrible death. You're gonna blow up to a fucking balloon. You're gonna drown in a chocolate river. You're gonna fall down some weird ass fucking golden egg chute.
You blame
That's how
the
little it is.
mother and the father.
Do. Exactly. But I mean, it was a terrifying movie. And it's like, it kind of came out around the same time as that Scared Straight thing. I'd say this did more to make kids better than Scared Straight ever did because I'm more terrified of orange midgets and fucking a chocolate river that sucks you up a goddamn pipe to this day than I ever am of Scared Straight
and also
and the people in Leavenworth. That's just as a Kansas reference for you.
and gum that tastes like roast beef, potatoes, and
I'd be into that. I'd be
mashed
down with
potatoes. I mean, gravy.
Oh, is that gravy?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's great. And then the other food when I was looking at like I'm like, where's the food in this movie? Like Charlie goes back and to his mother and the grandparents, and they're eating cabbage soup. They're like, cabbage soup again,
and they're fired up about it too. I mean, it's like, and the worst thing is like his mother's doing the laundry, she's stirring this thing, and then it's like in gray water, and I couldn't help but think like, oh my god, these poor bastards. Well, look, in the 70s, you were allowed to get away with a movie like that, where you basically that's the moral: be a good kid, or you're gonna fucking die. You can't get away with that now.
Well,
It's like.
It was fun because, as a kid watching it, besides the traumatic thing of like, oh, I'm stuck in a tube and I'm drowning, which is every child's fucking nightmare. You're like, oh, this is how I'm going to go.
Yeah,
my arms are stuck to my side and I can't breathe. There were scratch and sniff books back in the 70s. So you're like, I can lick the wallpaper. That might be nice.
The whole thing
really
about
quickly, I just want to say Veruca Salt was set down to the furnace. Was that her fate?
Yes, the furnace. Yeah, like where does that shoe go? The furnace.
And Roy Kinnear, Roy Kinnear swan dives in after her.
Right. Cream cakes and donuts so much I go nuts. Oh my God, I'm going to burn to death.
Well, also in the movie, it kind of ends relatively abruptly, like at the end when they shoot up through the elevator and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the Wonkavator.
Yeah, the Wonkavator.
The Wonkavator can go this way, that way, diagonally, and this and that. Yeah.
You don't see where the other how the other kids made out.
I believe there's a line I ignored for most of my life, which is, they'll be fine. Like just something like flippant like that. Like, don't worry. They're all right.
Yeah, they make out like they're going to be all right, but you don't see them like afterwards,
Maybe Slugworth was making some sort of snuff film with all those kids.
Yeah, exactly. Slugworth was scary as shit too. Turns out he was a Willy Wonka operative. He was.
Wait, the big scar on his face.
Yeah, but he just turns out his name was like Mr. something, Mr. Wallace or something random. Yeah, and he's like the nicest guy on earth. He was just trying to fuck with you to make sure you didn't steal my goddamn chocolate factory. What a weird fucking concept. I'm sorry, but it is.
I brought this up to you guys before. I think before we started recording. When they're giving out that fifth ticket, I just noticed this, and I guarantee you,
I never.
No one notices this. I just know because I'm a fucking maniac.
Unbelievable.
I love World War II stuff. But the fifth ticket, they're like, a guy in Paraguay won the ticket. And they show the picture of him, and then later on, you find out it was a fraud, and there's the newspapers going around, and you see this. That's Martin Bormann. It was Hitler's like private secretary. He was like the head of the Nazi party or whatever. He was like one of the top fucking, and the whole thing, like a lot of the rat lines, a lot of the Nazis escaped to to South America,
South
and
America,
Paraguay, and
yeah.
all that, Brazil, and everything else.
That's unbelievable.
But it's
man.
such a subversive thing, and I'm sure maybe at the time a lot of people, but like, there's no way. I would say 99% of the people that watch that have no idea like what that reference is or why, like who's that? Because it's random when you see. Like, I was like, that's fucking Martin Bormann.
How did you recognize him? Is what
because I
watched
watched fucking World War II documentaries and shit on. I don't know. I just like. Martin Bormann.
They were looking for a guy like Hitler because it was springtime for Hitler and Germany, winter for Poland and France. Gene Wilder also in the producers.
Yeah, bring it all.
It's a great tie-in.
You bring it all back. It's Cinema Cacciatore, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if you were in Willy Wonka's land there and all that shit was edible, what would you want to try? Because I personally wanted to always take a fucking bite out of that giant gummy bear on a stick, which it turned out was made of plastic, but the ears were edible. So that is the thing I would eat. Like, you had the giant mushrooms with the whipped cream in them and all this kind of shit. If you were in Willy Wonka's land, what would you want to eat? And please don't say a female Oompa Loompa.
Well, I'm going to... there's only one thing that I would want from there, and that would be a fizzy lifting drink.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Nice big swig of that.
Yeah.
And I would go up and touch the ceiling because I don't give a fuck because it needs to be scrubbed and sterilized so you lose.
I'd say though, I'd swan dives like the German kid did. I would go right into that fucking
chocolate river.
Yeah, just to be like, just to see what it feels like to swim in chocolate, and I don't know.
By the way, Gusta said that was a horrible experience. He said it was cold and
it stunk.
Stinky.
Yeah. What did he say? It was very gross water. Yeah, that's something like that. I believe that was
a lot like the city pool in our hometown. So,
well,
the thing is, I mean, Wonka would have been great, but if you could have had Professor from Back to the Future, maybe like Christopher Lloyd, but and he's a guy from Taxi. Alex!
It's who actually also could have been as insane as Gene Wilder. Now we just brought up Taxi and Christopher Lloyd. Andy Kaufman might have been an insane fucking Willy Wonka.
Oh yeah.
I never thought about this until just now. But he's like the only guy I think probably who could have brought that kind of insanity to the character.
But have you? I mean, aside from Latka, right?
Yeah.
He was fucked up aside from Latka.
No, what I'm saying is that
real fucked up.
He wasn't an actor. Like, really, I mean, he was he was a fucking, whatever. So I don't know if I could see him like reading lines.
It would be like,
I know. I mean, he'd probably get fired fucking a month in because he decided to improv the whole thing.
Right. Look, I'm Tony Clifton all of a sudden. Like,
oh my God.
Maybe, I don't know how old he was at the time, but maybe a young Christopher Walken. Could you repeat that? Maybe I'm a tad deaf in this ear.
I said good day.
I said good day.
There it is. It's going to have to be sterilized. Oh, my God.
You touch the ceiling, which now needs to be scrubbed and sterilized, so you lose. You get nothing. I said good day, sir. You're a monster walker. I said good day.
Okay, I've changed my mind that now Christopher Walken.
Wait, the Rodney could. You know what? Rodney could have did it. Seriously.
Oh my
Rodney
God.
Dangerfield would have been a hilarious Willy Wonka.
Talk about somebody who wasn't on the scene yet. But
no, he was doing Carson and stuff in the early 70s.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him doing it?
Oh my God. Take a look. Take a breath. Count to 3. All right.
World of pure imagination.
All right. What you see will defy. All right. Okay. Oh,
please stop.
Those tigers are young. All right.
No, but seriously, with the buggy eyes, with the buggy eyes and the top hat.
Oh my God.
Well, Brock, I really appreciate you coming by today to chew the fat over one of our favorite, fantasy musical films with the great Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Just the best.
And I'm hoping that maybe you could take us out with a song. You play so fine, Brock. Take us out.
Come with me, and we'll be in a world of pure imagination. What you see will defy explanation. We'll begin with a spin of children getting fucked over and over again. Oh my God, what's going on, Mom and Dad? Oh my God, this is terrifying.
Oh, Brock, Chris.